All right, great morning, business owners and managers, and welcome to another awesome episode of CX in the Morning, Customer Experience in the Morning. I'm your host, Wes Walters, and on every single CX in the Morning, I bless you with customer service tips, customer experience tricks, and I leave you with gems. And by gems, if you've been watching long enough, by gems, I mean actionable takeaways that you can implement at the speed of now. Immediately after this broadcast, you will be able to share with your team and implement, making your team and business even better. You will learn the importance of implementing an awesome customer experience, and that by itself, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty awesome. That's why this is awesome TV. How is everyone's week going? First of all, happy Black History Month. How's everyone's week going? Everyone's good? How's everyone's week? And I'm talking about how you feel. I'm talking about the metrics. What does the metrics say? How you get these ashy lips going? How is everyone's week? Yeah, I know. How is everyone's week going? The first thing they're going to be is like, I'm going to cover all this content, and the first comment is going to be, he had ashy lips. I know. So let me just get that rectified right away. So how has everyone's week been? And again, no emotions. What does the metrics show so far? How has February been? So far for me, if the first few days of February is a microcosm of the entire month, it's going to be a beautiful February. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Anyway, let the juggling begin. Today I have a wonderful guest, Miss Natasha Davis. Listen to the plethora of accomplishments. She's a consultant, author, speaker, corporate trainer, executive coach, brand strategist. She's a Swiss Army knife. This lady is a Swiss Army knife, and I like to just sum it all up as the chief visionary. Miss Natasha, great morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a great day indeed. And I'm going to tell you what, February is a beautiful month so far.
Nice. See, that's what I like to hear. How have you been so far? A long time we connected. We have been connected since COVID. How are things personal and business?
The COVID thing, she needs to go sit down because she's interfering with great connections and great opportunities. But, I can only say that, I'm free of COVID. I don't have COVID. I didn't have it. So that's a good day on any day. Nice. But all is well. All is well. I think COVID had its pluses and its minuses. One of the pluses for the business is that you had to rethink. You had to really learn how to pivot. You know what I mean? It wasn't just enough to say I'm a pivot. You had to actually pivot. And so really rethink and rethink the whole business and everything like that. And also sharpen your own skills and, survival of the fittest. That's what it really came down to. So you were able to see how strong you really were. And it's proven itself, and then going in to beyond 2021 and onward. So it's been interesting.
Absolutely. My mentor told me, he said, COVID hit and it pulled back the covers. It showed you all the businesses that were really in trouble, who were fronting like we're doing great. Right. COVID pulled that sheet back and be like, look, this is what's really going on, because here it is, 60 days. You can't survive 60 days.
That's crazy. That's interesting. I remember there was an article, and believe me, my heart bleeds for a business that had to close, not voluntarily, that they were forced to close. And you did your your ashy lips. Let me fix my curls, because I don't want nobody talking about my curls either. My curls was out of place. Am I straight?
You're straight. Okay. You're straight.
So my heart bleeds when a business is forced to close, because it's a different, it's a completely different dynamics from one that chooses to close. Now, when I'm forced to close, that means you are having to surrender, and you have to surrender your visions. You have to surrender your heart, your goal, your dreams, and everything. And you almost have to admit that, man, I messed up. And your mind goes through all of the things that you should have done, and that coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
Can't help you. Can't help you. It's too late. And so I remember reading an article. The business was the restaurant was 30 years in operations, and not even 60 days into COVID, they're closing their doors permanently.
Yeah.
So my heart is like, okay, is it really because of COVID, or you wanted to close anyway? So you're using this as a get out of jail free card. So I'm like, you're going to tell me 30 years in business and you can't stay in operations? That forces you to think about some things. What were y'all doing with your money?
Yeah.
What were the processes? What was the planning? And did you not see this coming? You had no contingency plans, or you were just blowing through money. Because if you don't have a savings for the business, then we have to create that savings for the business, right? So
Yes.
when I saw that, it hurt my heart too, because I'm like, how could you not get through 60 days, even if you had to trim the fat, right?
Yeah.
Or even if you had to trim the fat,
Exactly.
you had to shut down, which means you had $0 coming through the door. Come on, somebody
60
talk
days.
to me.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. 60 days. I mean, yeah, that was hard to swallow when I saw the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, here it is. A lot of people are critical of individuals who don't have a 6 months living expense. But as a business owner, you don't have a 60-day living expense.
Give me two
Like
months. That's all I'm asking for. 2 months.
2 months and you're gone? Come on, man.
Even you got to learn negotiation skills. If you have a brick and mortar and you have to manage a lease, you better learn some negotiation skills. Get to the table, say, listen, let's talk. Let's talk. I'm telling you, let me lay out the cards. Let me be transparent. Let me be honest. But a lot of times you'll see people that did not, um, they weren't being transparent,
Yeah.
and they didn't ask for help. And
Uh-huh.
that is the greatest pain that, I mean, that's the greatest disservice that someone can do to their business. You don't know everything. You can't know everything. See, I know Brandon. I'm
Yeah.
all things Brandon. I am Brandon. I wake up Brandon. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I'm not finances and like the CPA. I'm not the IT guru. That's not me.
Yeah.
That's not my lane. And so if I'm struggling in a particular area in the business, I know strategic planning, I know branding, but there's other pieces of the puzzle I don't know. I mean, I've called you many a times. I'm like, look, what is wrong with this thing? But we have to learn where our limitations are, and be okay with that, and stop being afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
That's how businesses grow, is
Yep.
asking for help.
Yep. Yep.
Show
Taking away that ego.
Put that ego aside, leave it outside in the parking lot, because you can't bring it inside in the business. You'll struggle. Like, doors, that's how doors close, because people will sit there and they'll see they're circling the drain.
Yeah.
And they'll sit there and they'll be like, it's going to be all right. No, it's not going to be all right.
Yeah.
You better
Yeah.
get help. You
Gotta
better
get
get
help
help. Um,
immediately.
immediately. I remember there was a client actually that I acquired right in the heart of the pandemic, and it's a restaurant industry, and I was patroning the business. It was a day I was patroning the business, and the gentleman was there, the owner was there, and he was closing up shop. It's time to go, and it happened to be his birthday the same day I was patroning the business. And he said, hey, I'm like, hey, I said, listen, do we need to leave? We were sitting outside, obviously.
Yeah.
Pandemic, I'm not sitting inside, I need circulating air. And so we were sitting outside, and I said, hey, we have to leave. He goes, no, it's outside, you're okay, we're just gonna go. And I was with a friend, and we were complimenting him on the quality of the items that we had purchased, and he was so thankful. He goes, I just want to, this is a grown man now,
Yeah.
guys, this is a grown man. He goes, I just want people to enjoy my stuff. I love serving people with my food. And I'm like, this is great. I said, how long have you been here? And he said, I've actually been in this industry over 15 years, and he's had business abroad,
Hmm.
he's had businesses here and stuff, and this was his third location, so to speak. Not consecutive, not consistently, but it was one of his third locations. And he started him mentioning, I've been in this industry X years, I've been at this location for 5 to 7 years or something like that, and his eyes started to tear up.
Yeah.
And my heart was like, okay, this is see, it's different. A woman crying, you'd be like, poor
Yeah.
baby. A grown man crying, you're like, oh Lord Jesus, what's wrong, baby? Look at
Pain
her.
is
What you mean?
deep.
It's deep. He's feeling it. And he said, yeah, I've been here. He goes, but the pandemic, we were closed for 3 months. And now that we're reopened, I'm realizing I haven't been a good business person
Hmm.
because I don't know if we can make it to next month.
Ouch.
And I sat there and my chief visionary hat was like, and my cape went on, my hat went on. I'm like, let me come to the rescue.
Started caping, huh?
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, let me lean in, let me get in here. And I said, what's going on? I said, well, talk to me. What's wrong? He goes, I don't even know where else to turn for help because the two people I asked for help, they never helped me.
Yeah.
And I said, what? So now I'm mad because like Mama Bear's up now. You did what to the fellow business owner?
Yeah.
And he sat there and he's telling me, I've done everything I know how to do. I don't know what else to do. I can't lose my business. This is all I have. See, there's a point we get to as business owners where we're gainfully unemployed. Like nobody wants us.
Yeah.
you know, we- you're not employable. Walmart don't want you. You know what I'm saying? Not the Piggly Wiggly don't want you. Nobody wants you, right? Nobody wants you. And he's sitting there, he goes, I can't lose this. And I remember talking to him, and the moral of the story here is this. He asked for help.
Hmm.
He said, I don't know. I need help. I don't know what else to do. I've done all that I know. I don't know what else to do. And I said to him, I will help you.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and I'm telling you, the faucet opened, grown man crying. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I can't let my mascara run up in this mug here. I'm going to look like a raccoon. And I said, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And I said, I will come back. It was a Saturday, so it goes on Sunday. I said, I will come back on Tuesday. I will help you. And I'm just so thankful in
Yeah.
him just being transparent and being humble, saved his business. He never closed. And we actually were able to improve his finances, improve his pricing. And through the strategies and the support, we helped him get the PPP. We got him $80,000, yo.
Nice.
Saved his business. When I'm telling you, you walk in there, he's like a peacock, chest up. He was like, listen, people come to him. I want to help you. You can't help me. You can't help me. I already have my angel. He calls me his angel. Anybody calls him like, hey, we want to, he runs, call this person. I'm not talking to nobody. And
Yeah.
his heart was, I asked people for help and they came and they said they would help me, but they never did. And he never let the others stop him from receiving the help. He had no reason to trust me.
Yeah.
I didn't know him. He didn't know me. He had no reason to trust me. But you see, when you are vulnerable,
Hmm.
you never stop trying. You was like, you know what? You screwed me next. You screwed me next. I'm going to keep trying because somebody's going to help me. But we have to just put on that hat of wisdom to know, okay, well, this is going sideways. So let me shut you down and I'm going to move on to the next. But because of that, he's in a great place now. He's able to buy his own location. He's talking about, I said, now pump the brakes, Pop. Like, let's hold on a minute.
Yeah.
You're doing too much.
Yes. Yeah. Like me, I am. I have passed that stage where I am too proud to beg. No, like if you're in my circle of influence, like
I'm asking questions.
I'm like, look, let me hold this. Let me hold something. Like
Exactly.
because all you can, I truly believe the ones in my circle of influence, we are close enough that a no doesn't ruin the relationship. Some people where it's shaky, you say no, they look at you funny for the rest of your life. I'm like, hey, look, you got something I can hold,
Right.
hey, and no loss. If they have it, great. If they don't, but I'm gonna ask. I'm not gonna be like, why didn't you ask? I didn't thought you would help. Hey, I'm asking. I'm asking.
What they say, a closed mouth doesn't get
Doesn't
fed.
get fed.
And that's the piece that I was actually having a conversation with someone yesterday. And I'm going to say something, and it may sound arrogant to people, but trust and believe it's not from an arrogant place. It's from a place of confidence. I remember I had a feeling where I was like, how come y'all didn't just ask me for help? You didn't support me. You didn't ask me to support you. You overlooked me knowing that this is my skill set. And then you're making it seem like I can't help you. And then you come, oh, well, because you're busy.
Mm-hmm.
We in a circle.
Yeah.
So if we're in a circle, then we in a daggone circle. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's no, okay, you in and you out the circle. And I remember one time I had woke up, I said, you know something? I have come to a place where I don't need to ask somebody for a seat at the table.
Mhm.
I don't need to ask somebody to let me in the room. Hell, I am the room.
That's right.
I got my own table. I'm
Mhm.
sitting at the head of this table. See, we have to get to a point where we are accountable and responsible for our own movement.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so people are like, that's arrogant. It's not arrogant, it's confidence. Because see, if we sit here and wait on folk,
Mhm.
you'll be hungry. And so therefore,
Newsflash, nobody is coming to save you.
nobody's coming to save you. They're not coming. They're
Mhm.
not coming. They're busy trying to save themselves. However, if I show up and I ask you to enter the room and I ask you to sit at the table, that is me asking for what? For that help.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And so sometimes people need to take it that way. Like, you have to build your own room and create your own table, and you have to sit at the head of your table. And when you think about it, I want you to visualize, like, if you're in like the Oval Office or you're in like the war room or something, right?
Mhm.
The leader sits at the head of the table, and all around him is what? His or her circle.
Yep.
And that leader is lending on the talents and the skill sets and the relationships, okay, and is leveraging his people, his circle, and that's it. Now when the person in the circle is sitting at the table sawing at the legs, you
Mhm.
get ejected, you are removed from the table, done.
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
done. So you got to be able to create your own table, invite the people to the table, your circle, learn how to leverage them, lean into them. But when you find out that someone is sitting there smiling and under the table they sawing off the legs, eject them.
Off with their head
Done.
immediately.
Done.
Conversation's over.
I got an empty seat. Who wants the seat? And you're
Mhm.
done, right? And so those are the pieces, like, when we talk about starting business and stabilizing and scaling business, that's a really important principle. You got to know who's at your table.
Mm.
Who's at your table? And if you at this table by yourself, you will go nowhere.
Yeah.
You ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's a problem because you don't know everything. And so if we sit at the table and I can't say, okay, here's what I know, here's what I don't know. Who do I know that can lend this knowledge to me, that I can leverage? Hell, if I have to hire them, then hire them. Do what you need to do, because it's a when the pandemic hit, I had put out, I said, we have to be careful of a vicious cycle in the middle of a pandemic. And this is the same principle. This principle would apply in any scenario. In the middle of a pandemic, you had the small businesses and everybody started getting nervous. So what did they do? Mary Lou stopped spending with Beatrice. Beatrice said, well, Mary Lou is not spending with me, so Beatrice money dried up, so Beatrice can't spend with Wes.
Yep.
Wes money done got dried up, so Wes can't spend with Natasha. Natasha's money done got dried up. Why? Because Mary Lou stopped spending with Beatrice. Beatrice couldn't spend with Wes. Wes can't spend with Natasha, and Natasha can't spend with Ann. It's a vicious cycle. So it's the same scenario. So if I'm sitting at a table and I have people around me and you have nothing to bring, everything's gonna dry up.
Yeah.
We gotta shut it down. Like you said, off with their head. Next, open seat. Who's available?
Great segue. Great segue. Miss Davis is the author of her newest book. It's called 25 Valuable Golden Nuggets to Start, Stabilize, and Scale Your Business. Listen, I have the I don't have the actual copy. I have the the Kindle version, but the other version is in the mail. And I want to tell you, this book has something in it for everyone. It doesn't matter where you are in the entrepreneurship roller coaster or journey. If you're just starting out, if you're in the zygote stages or the embryonic stages, or if you're a seasoned professional, seasoned business owner who's been there 15 years plus, you can get value from these nuggets. So I want to actually read what's the word I'm looking for?
You gonna lift the knowledge off the plate? We're gonna
go backwards instead of starting at number one. The one reverse engineering. I was having a brain freeze. I want to reverse engineer.
It might be the chapped lips was, the moisture.
Exactly.
My girls.
So 25 is the 25. The 25th one is the different levels of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, the
Yes.
progression of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Share with the viewers what are those different stages.
One of the things that I learned when I started in business, I just thought there was one level. I thought like when you driving, there's not one gear, right? If you drive stick shift, any of my stick shift drivers, you understand there's not one gear, right? And so in business, as I grew, when I entered in, I thought there was one level, one setting, one zone, one speed.
Mm-hmm.
And over time I realized that's not necessarily true, because when we enter in to business, we really don't know a lot. We know enough to help ourselves a little bit, but we don't know enough to be effective. And we know so much that we can be extremely dangerous. Okay. And so we step into the place of being a solopreneur, because when you start with a business, it's you. You didn't start the business with all these people and with a team of people. You started with you, and you right here, and then you began to pull out the pieces of the puzzle. So you were a solopreneur. So in your first thought in solopreneur, most people think, how am I going to do this? I got to make this happen. I got to launch this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it really is that I thing, right? You don't really grasp the we concept yet, because you're a solopreneur. You work hard, you work many long hours because you're trying to figure out the lay of the land. You're trying to capture the identity of self and things of that nature. You networking everywhere. You doing any and everything. You don't even have any balance or integration to your life. You all over the place because you're trying to get something off. Think of like I'm driving a stick shift. I'm trying to go up the hill in first gear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. Let's go, right? So then you stay in it. You stay in it long enough. If you can make it out of solopreneur the first 2 years, 3 years or so, you can get out of solopreneur. Then you step into the place where you actually are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Now you begin to have this, okay, I need some help here. Can't really afford it. I got to pick one or two people. So I got to really isolate some things, but you're still making some mistakes. So you step into the place of being an entrepreneur. Okay. And then you come out of entrepreneurship after the first probably 2, 3, 4 years, right? It depends on how strategic you are. There are some people that 15 years later, they still stuck in solopreneur and they think they doing something.
Wow.
Still there. 15 years.
Yeah.
And so now you go to entrepreneurship, and now you're like, okay, I'm in this place where I'm realizing I have a lot to bring to the table, but now you still got your hands in everything.
Mm-hmm.
You're tethered. You're
Yeah.
tethered to the business. The business can't run without you, not even for an hour. Not even for an hour, right?
You're a
And
slave to the
so
business.
you just a slave to the business. So an entrepreneur, you're self-employed. You employed yourself, right? So you left the job because you didn't want to be employed, but you became that self-employed person. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody endures this. There's nothing wrong with it. Let me tell you when it becomes a problem, when you haven't identified it and you stuck there
Mm-hmm.
and you think it's okay. Now, if you're doing this right, you then transition into being a co-creating visionary. A co-creating visionary, you probably crossed that 5-year increment. You're moving along. You got some things together. You got your systems down pat. You know where you're going. You know the mistakes that you have made, so you won't make them again.
Mm-hmm.
See, solopreneurs keep making the same daggone mistake, and they think that all they got to do is put a bow on it and it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't put a lipstick on a pig and it's no longer a pig. It's just a pig with lipstick.
Exactly.
Right? And so in the co-creator, as a visionary, as a co-creator, you're beginning to realize, I gotta get out of this. I can't breathe. I mean, the business, and you begin to figure out ways to separate yourself. So now the business can run an hour without you. It can run a weekend. You cannot have to work on weekends. I remember when I started, I worked 7 days. Do you hear me? 7 days a week. I was up all the time because I didn't want to miss a beat. I made a lot of mistakes and stuff. But when you're in that visionary, that co-creator visionary space, you then realize I don't know some things.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for me to keep going up this mountain to build momentum, I gotta get help. I've got to find the money for a coach or a mentor.
Yeah.
I've got to find the money for a virtual assistant. I can't do all of this, right? But as a co-creator visionary, you haven't completely emptied your brain till you become a clog in the wheel. Because see, you're still holding on to about 70% of it, and nothing can leave the office or nothing can leave the desk without your eyes and your hands on it, your special touch. Let me tell you something, y'all. As long as everybody gets to the destination on time, I don't care how you get there. I don't
Absolutely.
care. So that's in the co-creator visionary. You're sick and tired of being a clog in the wheel, but you're looking for a way out. And that's the place where you have the revelation where you're like, you know something? You're not going to do it the way I do it. But as long as it gets done, it's okay.
And that's
Right?
progress.
It's progress. Then you get to enjoy the sweetness of it, where you step into being a business owner.
Yeah.
You step into being a business owner. And as a business owner, the business can run without you for 1 or 2 weeks. And when I say run without you, I mean you ain't check an email. You ain't have to follow up with a call. You have processes documented, you have systems in place, you have the team is trained, you are not tethered to the business. You can go away. Like, you now have the ability to generate real profits. Now you generate in profits because you've learned how to not make the same mistakes. You're making better financial decisions. You're being guided the right way. You really step into the who's gonna do this mentality.
Exactly.
Who's going to do this? I come up with an idea. Okay, here's where my strengths are, but who's going to do this? Because I can't do it. And I don't want to do it. I'm busy building empires up in here, right?
Of course.
And then you transition to the beautiful place of being a CEO. And being a CEO, you delegate very well. You delegate with ease. The business runs without you. You have consistent revenue. You have real profit margins. You are actively involved in business ventures. You're building legacy, and you're being able to create an enterprise that is going to stand the test of time. See, because you cannot build a business that won't last.
Yeah.
If you pass today, the business can't die.
Yeah.
What did you spend 20 years building a business for? For it, if you leave today, if you pass today, it can die. Even in the business owner and CEO component, you have to start thinking about the what ifs.
Yeah.
How's this business going to sustain without me? You start looking into income protection. See, because now you're paying yourself. See, solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, they don't pay themselves. They don't pay themselves.
They use the business debit card for everything.
Let me get this coffee right quick. No, man, let me tell you what. They don't pay themselves. And they think it's okay. It's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay to have a business that's 5, 10, 15 years old. And you're telling me I don't pay myself. I ought to slap you upside down. Who told you that was okay?
Yeah.
It's not okay. When you start the business, you take one for the team. Really noted. But your vision and your goal has to be, I got to move from solopreneur. I'm going to transition into entrepreneur. I'm going to be the co-creator visionary. Co-creator means you have other people helping you to implement and execute. Now you got the business owner, and now I'm a CEO. You gonna tell me, oh, I'm a CEO. Okay, great. What's your income? What's your salary? What you mean? I don't pay myself. You not a CEO, boo. You down there. You still around.
Well, that's a good segue, because you talked about outsourcing, or where I would love to go to is nugget number 1 and number 6 in regards to hiring your weakness and outsourcing, and majoring in the minors. A lot of times when businesses are getting started, the business owner, the entrepreneur, feels that I have to do everything, because if it's not done by me, it's not done correctly. When should they start outsourcing?
You outsource your greatest weakness as fast as possible. People don't pay you for your weaknesses. They pay you for your strengths, right, guys? You're not being paid for learning curves, all right? Paying you to learn it. You're being paid for your strengths. And so when you come across something and you realize, I am really not strong at this.
Yeah.
Do I invest time trying to figure it out? You have to remember, everyone's brain is different. Some people, like IT people, their brain is very, very different. They're like mathematicians. Their brain is linear. Get in, here we go. Yeah. But then if you have a creative person, their brain works very differently. And they don't want to get bogged down in the numbers and algorithms and calculations and all that stuff. You have to know yourself and be at peace with that. So you hire your greatest weakness immediately first. Some people think, well, because I'm in business, my first hire needs to be an admin. Not necessarily. Suppose your brain is very multifaceted and you know operations and sequencing. Maybe you just know that. Well, guess what? You're good at that. But maybe you suck at sales.
Yeah.
You need to go hire yourself a salesperson, because I can promise you, if you don't sell, you ain't finna eat.
You ain't gonna be in business. You ain't gonna be in business.
Right? If you know that that's a weakness, you hire your weakness. And so, therefore, as the leader of the business, you're not supposed to know everything. You're just supposed to know when you don't know it. You need to know where to go get them. And so, you now go and source talent so you can leverage their skill, so you can build momentum and you can scale your business fast. Dream big, build momentum, scale fast. That's what you have to do.
Excellent. I'm not sure if you guys, I saw Naya made a comment, so I'm assuming you guys can hear Natasha. If you want to see Natasha, you want to go to Wes Walters at YouTube or Wes Walters and Associates on Facebook. So you're commenting. So Naya said, "I need her in my life." Don't worry, I'm going to connect you guys, Naya. So let me ask you this, Natasha. What are the difference in the different modes? The start, the stabilize, and the scale mode. Can you explain to the viewers the difference in the modes?
Absolutely. So when we hear startup, everyone hears startup. They pretty much know what that is. I'm just getting started. Here's where people get in trouble when they just get started. They think that I need to go get a business loan.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go get an investor. No, you don't.
Mm.
No, you don't. You need to sell your products and services.
Mm-hmm.
You need to raise capital. You need to learn how to move your products and services. So in the startup phase, you're really in the very new phase. We know what startup is. I'm right in there. I'm just getting started. I'm about 1 to 2 or 3 years old. And you have to put parameters on yourself. Don't let me run up on you and you telling me you've been in business 7 years and you still a startup. Let's sit down and have a conversation.
That's like when I was in a dating scene, I would meet sisters and they would be like, this is right when online dating had started. So they had this beautiful high school picture up. And I'm like, oh, swipe right.
Yeah, swipe right, baby.
So
you get them and they just don't look the same.
True story, right? So I went on a date and hop out my car, met her in the restaurant. The first thing she says, not good morning, not how you do it. First thing, she was like, I know. I was like, do you? She was like, a lot of it is baby fat. I'm like, your baby plays Little League. He's 12.
You don't have a thyroid issue. That's not baby fat. That's called hamburgers and French fries.
12 years? Come on.
Play with me if you want to. Somebody, let's tell the truth and shame the devil. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. What's up? We're not receiving that. Yeah. I'm telling you, we have to set parameters. You cannot continue to claim us. You cannot function as a startup and claim as a startup when you're 3 years in. You take the first year, you're going to take some lumps, you're going to make some mistakes, but you're supposed to learn from them. By year 2, you cannot be making the same mistakes that you made in year 1.
Yes.
You can't. So in the startup phase, really and truly, people look at startups for about 2 years because you have no track record. You don't have any metrics. So the first year is like your learning curve, right? By year 2, you should have, you should be ready to shift. You should be ready to shift. So then you go into stabilize. Stabilize is where you're at the point where you are getting the business to create consistent revenue, consistent and predictable revenue. And in all honesty, let me be honest with you, because see, I'm a real person. You may not be turning high profits yet, but your goal in stabilize has to be that it is generating consistent revenue.
So the key word in consistent is not the amount, it's consistency.
Consistency. Don't, if I come to you and I say, okay, great. Oh yeah, we had a great month in January, but then February, March, and April is looking like a situation.
Yeah.
And you're not a seasonal business, you don't have consistent revenue. It's not predictable and it's not consistent. You cannot run a business. That's running a business on fumes.
Yeah.
And so therefore, when in startup, you're supposed to learn what works, what doesn't work. Where am I supposed to market? How am I supposed to market? In your startup, you're confirming who your client is, who your target audience is. You're framing your avatar down to the T. See, because in our heads, we say, I want to serve women 35 to 50 or men 28 to 35. You say that. And then when you run it out and you launch it, you find out, you know something? I thought it was for them, but guess what? They don't want it. So now you're refining in startup. In stabilize, you should know, who your audience is, who they're not, and so forth. I had a great conversation the other day, and somebody was like, well, where do you market? I mean, do you give your clients t-shirts and whatever? Babe, no, my clients don't want t-shirts. They want results.
They want results.
They want results.
All the fluffy, nice feeling
they
stuff.
They don't want t-shirts and they don't want mugs and all that stuff. They want results because they're paying for results. And so that's my clientele. But you know what? You may have another type of business based on their model where the clients are expecting swag. It's an expectation. You got to know your clients. So in Stabilize, you are at to a place where you know your business. You have to know supply chain. You have to know how business gets in and out, money in, money out. You have to know where the money leaks are.
Yeah.
Right. You got to tighten it up. And so then when you're in scale, you're killing it. You're making profits. Your money's on point. Your systems are in place. I mean, you are at a point where you can start to look at another enterprise, another business, another profit center, even within the business. A lot of times people hit startup and they feel like, oh my God, product A didn't work or service A didn't work. All right, let me keep service A, but let me go ahead and create service or product B, C, and D all at the same time. But not one of them have gone into autopilot and none of them have proven to be proof of concept. So I don't believe that any business person should constantly be starting new things. If you have a company and you have interest in doing something else, get that one business to be in autopilot first. You should only have one business that requires your undivided attention.
Yeah, man, I'm so frustrated when I get on the calls to consult. And I said, like, tell me a little bit about your business. Well, I have 4 businesses.
Really? Talk to me.
I was like, I know how this conversation is going to go. You need I need you to look at a business as a baby.
Right.
Having triplets or quadruplets at once is hard.
Don't stress you out.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. So we're running out of time, but I want to highlight the ones that I like the most from the 25.
Yes.
I mean, it was hard. It was hard to trim it down, but of course, the ones that kind of resonated with me were the ones that had incorporated customer experience and customer service in them. So the first one is number 10, worldwide domination.
Yes.
I've just been given the title by Lev. His name. He tells me, Wes, it's Worldwide West. That's your name, Worldwide West. When I saw worldwide domination, I was like, that one speaks to me. Talk a little bit about that, how important it is to be an expert and not a generalist.
Man, let me tell you something. And we all have done it. So don't beat yourself up. We all have done it. We stepped into the arena of business. We put on the shoes of entrepreneurship and we felt that everybody wants us. Everybody don't want Natasha. Everybody don't want Wes. So I can't serve everyone. And it's okay. It's okay to be a niche. It's okay to have a niche market. It's okay to have a niche industry. And when you talk about world domination, I want you to dominate your industry. Let me tell you something. I tell people, I know Brandon like the back of my eyelid. I am Brandon. Okay. And so you have to become your industry. I don't care if you scoop poop, if you dissect stones, I don't care whatever you do. You need to become your industry. You have to know it. That is how you will achieve world domination. And so when you lean into that place, you got to serve with excellence. You got to really raise the bar. You have to raise the bar on yourself, and you never drop that bar. You never lower it, not because it gets hard or because you got a couple of rejections or objections, 2 different things, right? You have to be able to raise that bar, and you, the leader, have to go up and hit that bar. And when you hit that bar, you better bring it up again. You better raise the bar again, because domination in the world requires you to show up and show out. And you cannot be, well, I'm a consultant too. I do marketing too. I'm a hairdresser too.
And on the weekends, I do shingles for roofs.
Right? You have to learn how to step into the meat only territory.
You are the first person that told me. I remember when we first met. Yeah. I gave you my business card.
Oh, please.
And it had video editor on one side and whatever latest or greatest thing I was doing at the side, I guess noni juice or whatever.
Something. I was too through with you.
You were like, Wes, what is this? Trash.
I don't want this card. I don't want this.
Like,
who told you to do this?
Who's gonna hire you? I'm like, this is great. It's a great use of real estate. You have one card or two businesses. It's like nobody hires generalists, Wes.
Nah, I don't want you. That means you don't know anything. You know what they say? What's the saying? I'm a whatever of everything. A master of
all trade, but an expert in nothing.
Jack of all trades and a master of none. I need to be the master. So if you laser focus on what you solve, the conversations are easier to have with prospects. Yeah. You close deals way faster. But also, here's the key: you identify when a potential prospect is not your ideal client.
Yep, you attract what you need and you repel what you don't want. The second one on the list, number 22, that really resonated with me is being your authentic self. I tell you this, Natasha, if you go back to YouTube or Instagram, when I first started CX in the morning, the shows were like, first of all, I was in a 3-piece suit.
Yes, baby. Come on. Right.
With the tie.
Stop.
And so I had the suit on with the pants. Nobody can see what's beneath but I had the pants on. I had Stacey Adams gaiters. I'm like, Wes, nobody can see this. And the first shows were, thank you for tuning in to CX in the morning. My name is Wes Walters. Because I assimilated what I saw. Most of if you Google customer experience, most of the individuals that you see are lily white and over 50. And I thought that's what I needed to do. And I was like, look, nobody could be Wes like Wes.
Nobody
could be Wes. Like, if I just be my authentic self, who's going to compete with me? Nobody. So when I saw number 22 on there, being your authentic self, I was like, yeah, this book she's onto something here. Like I said at the beginning, this book has something for everyone. It doesn't matter where in the journey you are. The other one on my list that I like was Plan B is a distraction. Plan B is a distraction. And what I thought about immediately was the concept of burn the boats. And if you're not familiar with burn the boats is when Captain Cortez landed in Veracruz, he told his team to burn the boats because we're here to conquer or we're gonna die. We're not going back on the boats. So eliminating Plan B, that was like, when I saw that, I was like, man, she is on to something. You want to elaborate a little bit about Plan B?
Let me tell you what, Plan B, you cannot have a Plan B. If you're not all in to your vision, to your dreams, to your business, to your success, you do not have the right to ask anyone else to be all in. You don't have the right. As a matter of fact, you'd be out of line to ask somebody to be all in, to be fully committed to you if you're not committed to your own vision and to your plan. People misconstrue having an alternative route with having a Plan B. Plan A says, no matter what, I'm going here. If you said, I intend to be a business owner and I'm going to be a successful business owner, period, hands down, that's it, then that's it. You can't have a Plan B that I'm going to go back to the workforce because it gets a little hard. But let me tell you what, because your money gets funny.
Yeah.
I remember going through a period in my business where I had a negative $400 something in my bank account. All the bills was coming in and people were still calling me, can you come out and network? I had less than a quarter tank of gas in my car, $20 to my name. And admission to the event was $20.
Yeah. It's like, how we gonna do this, God?
Situation. I remember another scenario where I was going to prospect with this client, and it's a dentist, big, like phenomenal dentist, high level dentist. I mean, he's killing it. Yeah. And his dental practice was over $4 million, and he wanted to hire me as his brand strategist. And I go in, and I promise you, my tank was not full at all. He said, let's have a lunch meeting. I said, it's on you. That's no problem. He could not go. He was practicing. He couldn't send his assistant or go get the lunch because he wanted to have an in-office meeting while we were sealing the deal.
Yeah.
So the office assistant called me and says, hey, we're ready, but Dr. So-and-so is finishing up a procedure. Do you mind just picking up the lunch and bringing it in? And I'm thinking in my head, well, it's paid for. We're good. I can pick it up. That's the least I could do.
Yeah.
Okay. And I go to this place to go pick up the lunch, and they hand me the bag, and this joker said 60 something dollars.
And you're like, how?
You sure they didn't pay for this thing already? It paid for. I can't take it out.
Like,
I'm
how?
sitting here, I'm sitting here looking at her, and I said, Lord, if you could just do me this one favor, please. I cannot go to this client telling them I couldn't afford to pick a $60 lunch. Meanwhile, I'm fitting to charge him $2,000 a month. And
Yeah.
I said to myself, self, do you run with the lunch? I said, nah, you can't. You got heels on. You got to go up a hill. You got to go across the street. It was down there by Peachtree. You got to cross the big street. It's not going to work. All right, let's try it. Let's go in. Let's go in. And it was a Friday, and it was after 2 p.m.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I think this may possibly work because, back then, them transactions ain't really processed until Monday.
So let me just swipe. I'm gonna get hit with that 35, but hey, please, God, go through.
So, I'm here proud. Hand the card in, and I'm like, please, I'm praying in tongues, y'all. Tongues. The card process, and I said, thank you. I ran out of there so fast and got there. I was so disgusted and I was angry. Who the hell orders lunch and don't pay for it? How you gonna ask me to pick up?
Don't you ever do that to me again.
Ever, 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 ever. And I get there and they tear this lunch up, and I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't even eat it. I'm like, if this fool don't sign this contract, it's gonna be a really bad day today. Luckily, signed the contract. He signed in for a year. It's a $2,000 per month contract. He signed in for a whole year contract.
Nice.
When I tell you, I was like, thank you so much. Here's the funny part. I'm heading home. Tank is still on E. I didn't have any money to put gas in it, and I'm looking at the light blaring. So let me tell you something. Here's what it is. I didn't have a plan B.
Yeah.
There was no plan for me to go back to work. And that was hard. It was hard. But I stayed in it, and I'm so excited that today, those were lessons that showed me empathy and sympathy for people. But it also showed me that I could win. And as long as I stay all in and focus, it's all good. So I got to celebrate and enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Nice. And the last one I want to touch on, the one that I think is actually my favorite, is never stop learning. That one speaks to everyone. It doesn't matter where you are in the journey, because it shows about how important personal development is. But even from a business side, the concept of Kaizen, where it's constant improvement. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this lady is a branded specialist, but she has some customer experience in her somewhere.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Learning is critical. Sometimes if you follow me on social media, you see, I'll be like, #learning is earning, boo. Learning is earning. John C. Maxwell tells us that learning is earning. If you're not learning, you're not growing. And let me tell you something. You must make it a part of your business model. Your team must learn. You must learn. You never stop learning. I don't care that I'm in the industry of branding. I still learn. I'll show up to conferences to learn strategic planning and branding. And sometimes the information translated will be, I don't care, I already know that. Well, that's reinforced. But every time you're in it, somebody drops something of value. And you grab hold of that and you like, dang, that is beast all day. And it's not that you're stupid. It's just that when you're in the thick of it and you're in the day-to-day operations and in business, sometimes you can't see. You can't see. And it is in your best interest to carve out time to learn. I don't care if you enroll in an online class, attend a webinar, listen to a podcast, read a journal, go to a course. Hell, go to something. Keep learning.
Keep learning.
You have not arrived. The day that you think you have arrived is you're dead. You're wasted. Nobody else is going to want you, because you will become the better leader and the better person for your customers the more that you learn. And if you make learning a part of, like, it's a priority, you can never be what they considered washed up.
Yeah.
I evolve all the time. I evolve. Because let me promise you this, guys. My principles that I had 10 years ago, those principles don't necessarily work now. And then after the pandemic, the world that we did business in, them days are gone.
Yep.
You got to do business different. Look at where we are today. Normally, we probably would have been face to face, right, Wes? I'd have gotten a car, we'd have drove to a studio, we'd have been face to face, we'd have fought through traffic, whatever. Now we're meeting people throughout the world, and it's being done very successfully through virtual platforms.
Yeah.
That's like unheard of. I don't do virtual.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
How
well,
long have you? How long have you had that problem?
what are you talking about? So I'm just telling you, we have to evolve. You have to evolve. Know your industry, learn your industry. Don't feel because you're the expert. Listen, I've written books about it. I've been awarded by it. I speak on stages about it, but yet I will still sit in a class, notebook, pens up, taking notes on a brand strategy class,
Man,
marketing class, everything. I'm a student and don't talk to me. I'm in class. I'm in class. Look, got
Natasha.
my highlighters and everything.
Natasha Davis, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for being here and for blessing my viewers with this knowledge. Everyone go pick up the book. It's on Amazon. 25 valuable golden nuggets to start, stabilize, and scale your business. You can find Natasha's Impact Branding on Facebook at Impact Branding Consultant. And Natasha, again, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for pouring into my viewers. If you need help implementing anything that you saw on this show, you can always go to workwithwest.com, and myself and my team will give you a free business customer experience audit. We'll see what your goals are, and we'll help you achieve those goals in the quickest time possible. As always, I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tune in if you're a business owner or manager. This is where you want to be on Instagram at Wes Walters, or on YouTube, on Facebook at Wes Walters, and Associates on Facebook, and Wes Walters on YouTube. All right, until Friday, I see you guys on back here at 8 a.m. And again, if you're watching the replay, share it with all business owners and managers and let them know this is where they need to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Peace.